Hi everyone, it's Suyin here. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about valuing our time and why it's important as part of being an adult, as also part of being an investor. So let's get into the video. Thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this segment of the video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity right here. So lately, I've been taking this class by Christopher Griffin called Plants at Home, Uplift Your Spirit and Your Space, and I had a really fun time just learning about different ways to take care of my plants and how to plan for them, and it's definitely been cheering me up during this pandemic season. I've also been taking another class called Create a Next Level Squarespace Site Full Customization and Design Tips by Cara Ferreira. So this one has really helped me elevate certain aspects of the websites that I own. The first 1,000 people to click the link in my description below will get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare to explore your creativity. Happy learning and see you on Skillshare. Okay. We are very aware that we only have 24 hours in a day, and this is something that has only become very apparent to me in particular as I entered my adulthood after university, after school. So I guess let's start with why it's important to value our time as part of being an investor and an employee or a business owner. So I can relate on all of those fronts because that's what I am currently doing in my life. And I have to say that time is something that is very precious, right? And lately I've been getting busier and busier because I guess I don't know, I have decided to take on a number of projects at the same time, and it is becoming increasingly challenging for me. So that's why I really want to make this video today and talk about it, because I find it's so important. We have this culture of glamorizing the hustle and being busy and being productive, and I find that most of us are very aware that this culture is not a healthy culture, and that a lot of us want to break away from the idea that we have to be busy or productive to be worthy of achieving something meaningful in our lives. And I think that it's time that we really reevaluate the sayings of we need to hustle, we need to be really hard on ourselves and work really hard. I think it's more important, especially for me, to understand what kind of life I want to have, and that is actually a more effective way of going about my week and going about my goals, because I find that the busier I am, the more unhappy I become, and the more unhappy I am, the less agreeable or the less pleasant I am to be with when it comes to the people who spend time with me, aka my boyfriend and my sisters and my family, right? I become this very disgruntled, very frustrated person, and I don't really like that about myself. And what I want to do is I want to build better support structures or build a better way of going about it. So first off, how to value my time more, it's really about knowing myself. And as part of being an investor, it is really important to have these soft skills more than just the technical skills of how to invest or how to actually learn, right? Like when you learn how to be an investor, there is just so many components, and the huge component that I think that we should talk about more is the emotional component and the sense of self. And what I'm finding is that it's becoming increasingly important to know who I am and know how I react as a person when it comes to being an investor and being a business owner and an employee. And what I find is that time is of the essence, and how to actually get more time or more value for our time is to actually prioritize. So here's some of the tips that I have learned along the way and that I am integrating into my life. So I hope you find it helpful. Prioritization is something that I need in my life right now, especially where I have a list. I just go at it, like just write down all the things that are in my head that's clogging up that mental space, like all of the things that I am needing to do that I'm beating myself up mentally for not doing. Like, you know, when we procrastinate, so just write it all down, all the nitty-gritty tasks, like everything, and then you can see it all on one page, right? And then you prioritize what is actually important. Now, how do we actually find out what is important here? And I think this is where knowing ourselves comes in. It's important if it is relevant to the goals that we have. And to have a clear idea of what goals we have, we need to put in the work, right? We need to actually sit down and build those goals. And these goals actually need to be genuinely what we want. If not, they are just New Year's resolutions that kind of go missing at some point in the year. So for me, when I sat down to write my goals for 2021, it was very clear that it was going to be more of a focus on relationships. And yes, there are some financial goals in there that are, you know, easy and tangible to see, like, oh, okay, by Q2 this year, I've hit like a financial goal, and which is really cool. But at the same time, I can feel that my relationship goals are not where I want them to be currently. And you know, this is allowing for perspective, and when it is so clear, it is easier to prioritize what matters to me. So let me give you a concrete example, because it all sounds very abstract right now. The concrete example is that right now I've been getting a lot of emails to do panel workshops or hosting of investment talks, or just like create a workshop for this particular company in their event for women empowerment. So with getting all of these requests, I need to see, does this actually align to any of my goals, and or does it actually detract from any one of my goals? So there is an opportunity cost to taking on more things, especially if you are already doing quite a lot of things. And what I'm finding is I need to learn to say no to a lot of these requests if they are not in alignment with what I actually want. So I do want to build that workshop that has to do with like women empowerment. Sorry, that's my vacuum talking to us. So yeah, I actually do want to build this workshop to help with women empowerment in their finances, how to be good with money. And if I'm actually going out there and creating more talks for other brands, that actually detracts from my personal brand, because that is time that I can spend working on my own series of workshops and like testing it, perfecting it, or like making progress with it. And you know, given that these are not actually very straightforward, there's a lot of gray area, right? Like if I do the brand workshops with and create it with them or for them, then I would be able to gain more exposure to people that maybe I would not have come into contact with if I didn't do that workshop. So there is a plus side to that, but the downside is that, you know, that time that I am giving up actually has a monetary value to it. It actually has an emotional value to it, where I sometimes say yes to certain things that I begrudgingly like beat myself up, like,
oh my gosh, why did you say yes to that when you know that you already have quite a lot on your plate?
So I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not always so black and white, like this is good, this is bad. No, it exists on a scale. So what I've decided is to prioritize the things that I already have going on, which is my workshops, my businesses of the online school or this YouTube channel, and also my full-time job, right? So it is an interesting process, and it's not always going to be rainbows and sunshine, like, prioritize this and it worked perfectly. It's not always going to be smooth, and that's something that I need to learn to be okay with. And yeah, okay. Another tip that I have, which is to actually notice the difference between your priorities, right? There is a subtle difference between an important task versus an urgent task. And normally urgent really jumps out at us and screams at us, I need to do this now. You need to actually get this done and get it out of the way. But sometimes these things are not really important, but they take up a lot of mental space. So my rule of thumb is actually to look at it and say, is this urgent? Normally the case is yes. Is this important to me? Maybe not, and then it will slip down to my priority it will slip down in the priority of my to-do list. And that is okay too, because I'll eventually get to it and it is in the actual correct order to me. And as you can tell, this is very subjective, right? Because I also have a rule where if it takes only 5 minutes to get done, it is good to get it out of the way. So I guess normally when I would use this particular rule is when I'm feeling overwhelmed or bogged down with the amount of things to do on my to-do list. I would actually then start to tick off things that are easier to do, faster to get done. And that's exactly what I did this morning when I was feeling like I really did have a lot of tasks at hand, and I just did the urgent things, which is to respond to emails. And I know they were taking a lot of mental real estate over the weekend where I was ignoring them. And yeah, it just took me 5 minutes to go through 10 emails and to respond to that. And now that's done, that is actually out of the way. And I can say that it is a relief that now I don't have to think about them. Yeah, so it works for me. I think you should test it out to see whether it works for you as well. Something else that has helped me, I guess the third thing, is to understand that there is an optimal time of the day to do different tasks for yourselves. And it's about experimenting, do I work better in the morning for creative things, or am I a better worker after I've had something to eat? It's very tailored to your own personality and what kind of person you are, morning person, afternoon, night owl. And it's interesting because it does change due to different circumstances. I used to be really, really gung-ho morning person where I would get most of my tasks done in the morning. And throughout this pandemic experience, sometimes it is also nice to do the things that actually look like self-care. And what I like to do before I start work is to actually take a breather, don't look at my phone, don't check emails the first thing in the morning. And some days that's exactly what I need, and it's a matter of feeling it out and making sure that that is what you want for the day. And there's no right or no wrong, so just have fun and experiment with it. And so far this week, I find that with my current state of mind, it's okay to move that self-care to later on in the day. After I've gotten certain things done in the morning, then I can take a walk or get a quick exercise in, and then move on to the next thing that I need to do in the day. So I guess that's it. It's a very simple video that I had for you today, and I hope that you are using your time the way you want it to, and not just to subscribe to the hustle culture of doing things just to be busy, just to be productive. I know we've all done it, and I've personally done it so much in the past, I guess, 8 years that I've been working, and it's a constant work in progress. So we will get there eventually into a state where we are a little bit more brave to spend time the way we truly want to spend time without fear of judgment from others, and especially from ourselves. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye!